Hey, welcome to Old Ass Movie Reviews. Scott, there's Dave, and we are taking it to the 70s for Airport 75, which I didn't realize they did like a series of airport movies in the 70s.
Yeah.
And it really blew my mind to see George Kennedy in every damn one of them. And all I can think of now, all I got to say about this movie right off the bat, when I see George Kennedy, I'm thinking Police Squad, Naked Gun. And of course, why does my brain go there? Because Airport 75 looked to be the spine, the backbone for Airplane. And all the jokes, or a good amount of jokes, came from that and the previous movie, Airport. But this is good 70s movie fare. I enjoyed this movie, man.
Yeah, I remember I was telling you a little bit earlier. I vaguely remember going to see this at a drive-in. I was probably about 8 or 9 years old. I remember it having a lot more danger in it
Well, yeah.
than now, but then I was also a little kid. I don't think I've seen this movie in 40 years at least. You know?
Yeah. My wife and I were talking about that last night. It's like, is this the Airplane movie we're thinking that had all this danger? And it's like, maybe not. There's a whole bunch more.
Let's go through the list of
Sure.
the top four. Airport 1975, Airport 1977,
And
then
Airport 79.
79. And
Yep.
79, I think, was the one with the Concorde.
It is the Concorde. I remember that one because I had such a fascination with jets and airplanes. And the Concorde to me is still an amazing piece of tech. And I don't know why it's been retired. We need more like that. But, hey.
Yeah. I think they had the main two accidents right towards the end. And my conspiracy theory always kicks in with that one. So
well, let's hear it.
Well, I think they needed to get rid of the Concords to up the price for everything else, because they never had full venues. A Concorde, as far as I know, that I've read, was never fully packed out with people.
Really?
The tickets were just too expensive.
Yeah.
But that sucker could fly from Europe to the United States in 3 hours.
In an hour. It was a couple hours it was a fast trip to London from New York. It was insane.
Yeah, it was like totally crazy. And because it went up so high, it would be almost in space. It was like right at that point where you were like a little bit higher and you're going into space.
Yeah.
Not much higher either, because you could look out the window and see the atmosphere. That's how high that damn thing would fly. And then it was a big arc. It would just go up
boom,
and then right down. It's like, how? That's not flying. That's slingshotting.
It's pretty awesome, actually.
And
it's still amazing.
Planes that had their accidents and they went down quick like rocks. And as far as I know, I didn't look this up just because I wasn't counting on this conversation. But as far as I know, they never really figured out what happened to the two of them, the two Concords that went down.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh no, they're horrible, they're a poor design. It's like, they were the safest plane on the planet up until these two accidents magically happened when everybody wanted to shut them down, but there was no reason to shut them down. And then suddenly the two accidents, and then they don't fly anymore. But that's my conspiracy bone kicking in, folks. Take it for what it's worth. Maybe what happened was the truth. Maybe what happened was major corporations trying to get another guy out of the room.
We don't have any commercial supersonic travel, and we have the technology to do it, but we have nothing. So
we don't have the space shuttle anymore. Safest.
I know that was another thing. Yeah.
Even with the Challenger disaster and I forgot the other ship. I'm terribly sorry.
Yeah, the one that went down, I think.
I want to say Atlantis, but I don't think that was it. I don't think it was.
You might be right.
The Atlantis, the other one that went down. With the amount of flights that thing took, probably the safest way to go. Had the biggest cargo compartment, and then suddenly our government out of the blue says, no more space program, and walks away.
No more space program, but we're going to build a shuttle, a capsule that looks like our old style. What?
My immediate thought is conspiracy theory. What the hell just happened? Well, the only guys that are going to take us into space now are the guys that used to be our biggest enemy on the planet. What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And now we're using private contractors to
Yeah.
fly to space, which is great. I'm glad people stepped up for that. But it's like,
Yeah,
damn.
you gotta just be proud of Elon Musk and that because he looked around and went, hey, nobody's got a spaceship. I'll make a spaceship. Do you know
Not
how
only
to? Not yet.
not only that, a reusable
Yeah,
rockets that come
you can
back,
land it. They can land the
the
portion of the rocket.
boosters,
I
which is
watched those,
crazy.
and it just blows my mind. It
Yeah.
just absolutely blows my mind. And yeah, tell me we don't already have a colony of some sort on Mars. I dare somebody tell me with
We do,
all the
but
rocket launches. I'm sorry, go ahead.
they keep fighting with the Nazis that are there
Yeah, the
already.
Nazis that were
So
already there.
yeah, that were
No,
already
that's the moon
there.
base. That's the moon base that
Well,
they're
they
Nazis.
moved to Mars after we found
I
them on
did
the
that.
moon.
Okay.
Yeah, they decided
Everybody's looking at me like,
Argentina and the moon were not safe enough. We're going
Argentina. We went to Argentina. We fucked that up. We went to the moon. Fucked that up.
fucked it up. Now we're at Mars. We're gonna fuck
All
that
right,
up
we can fuck
soon,
that
but
up too. Next Titan. Here we come,
yeah.
Titan.
All right, yeah. Back to the movie. Thank you for
Where you
holding with
at?
us through our conspiracy laden moon Nazis, and
Moon Nazis.
I still have never seen Sky Captain, but
Oh,
anyway.
Spy Captain in the World of Tomorrow is really good, but the one you're talking about is Iron.
Oh,
Iron something. Iron,
is
not Iron.
isn't it like the sequel or something to that? With
No, no. What it is
oh,
it
okay,
supposed to be back in the 40s when the Nazis are on the moon base, and
yeah,
then they find out there's an old
that
moon
was it.
with
Yeah,
Nazis, and it's a big war. It's such a bad movie, but it's not horrible. It's not nearly, and it's almost not as far fetched as you would think that it would be. Like they start doing it, and you're like, this is kind of cool. And then they kind of go comedy, which really kind of cramps it up. I haven't seen the second one. There's another one, Iron something or other.
yeah,
If
yeah. I saw the
anybody out
trailer
there
for it.
remembers the name of that movie, it's bad. It's good.
Yeah,
Could have been a lot worse. Put it that way. Could have been a lot
yeah.
worse. But let's get back to Airport 75, the movie we're actually supposed to be talking about.
Yeah, and I don't even know where we left off. We talked about there's four movies,
Yeah.
and what's really neat about these movies is the casting.
Yeah.
All four of them, they just pulled as many. It's like a gathering of all the stars, and it just is amazing to see all of these people. I tell you what, in this movie, I really wanted to punch Sid Caesar. He was an annoying motherfucker. It's like, will you calm your ass down? But here's my favorite part of this movie was when there's a whole there's an in-air collision with a small private plane.
That's not right.
And it tears a hole in the cockpit. And so there's a lot of depressurization and a lot of turbulence. But the front of the plane, where the first class is, and the upper deck with the cockpit, is nice and level. And then they pan over to the coach class. People are falling all over the place. And there's this one lady in the back holding a chair, and she's just screaming, ah, ah. But everything else is calm, and she's like, ah. It's the funniest fucking thing. I mean, goddamn.
I know you know where airplane got all this stuff from. The girl that has the kidney transplant.
Linda Blair.
Is Linda Blair.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And she's played in Airplane by the little girl from The Love Boat, the
yes.
daughter. And it's just like, I seen her coming out of the plane, and I just started texting you. I was like, I think I wrote like, oh my God, here's the little girl with the kidney transplant. Oh my God, she's got a guitar, and there's none.
There's a nun, a singing nun, who is Helen Reddy.
Helen Reddy.
Yep.
Oh my God. And did you catch the guy who was passed out through the whole flight?
Oh, Ben Stiller's dad.
Ben Stiller's dad.
Yeah. Oh my God, he was so funny.
There's a trio of three guys that get drunk at the bar. And they're drinking the whole damn time that they're on the plane until this accident happens. And one of them passes out before the accident actually happens.
He sleeps through the whole fucking plane.
He's passed out. He's laying his head on the guy's shoulder that's next to him. This whole disaster is going on around him. And the whole time, his friends are like, he's laying on their shoulders. They'll like push him off. He'll fall on the other guy's shoulder, the other guy. And then when everything's coming, they land, they're ready to come out of the plane. He's looking around, he's like, what'd I miss? And his two friends are like, what did you miss? What the me, what did you
Yeah.
miss? It didn't dawn on me for like the first 5 or 10 minutes that the camera was going back to those three guys, that he
Yeah.
was passed out. Because I was just so used to him throwing in his line
Yeah.
that I'm watching for a second. I was like, oh my God, that's hysterical. That is freaking hysterical with nothing being said about it. The other two guys don't even mention it. Nobody
Yeah.
mentions that this guy's just passed out. Oh, God, it's funny.
Yeah. This.
Gloria Swanson.
Yeah.
Gloria Swanson. I didn't even remember she was in this movie.
There is so many people, and I'm a little confused because I watched all the trailers
Yeah.
for all four. So
Dean
it's like, man,
Martin's in the airport.
I saw Jimmy Walker uh, in Concord. I think
he's in the Concord one.
I think he's in the
69.
Concord one. Eddie Albert's in the Concord one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but yeah, looking at the first one with Christopher, was it Christopher Lee in that and Dean Martin or
No,
dude?
Dean Martin and Christopher Lee, I think, are in the first one.
First
I think
one.
It's an airport.
Right. Okay.
'Cause
And
I
this
did
is the
same
second
thing
one.
you did. I watched all the trailers, and I'm like, oh shit, we should have watched the one with Dean Martin in it.
Yeah, we should have. I'm glad we watched this one because man, this sparked so much from Airplane that I texted you last night. It's like, God damn it, I want to watch Airplane now, and it was just so funny to see.
The whole opening sequence in the airport with the music, and it just keeps doing the crescendo. It keeps going up and up and up.
Yeah.
The tension, and there's no tension in this freaking airport. There's
No.
nothing going on. By the time you get to somebody where they're speaking a line, there's like, da-da-da! Hi, what's going on, Bob?
Yeah,
Hey,
and then
Shirley. It's like, what, you built all that tension for nothing?
For the 70s, they did a great job with the effects in here. It's impressive.
Yeah, I want to know, because at first I was looking at the jet. It's a 747, and there's a lot of film footage of this 747 flying what looks to be very fucking low.
Yeah, very low.
Very bad terrain. And at first I thought it was a model, and I'm like, wow, that's some really good model work. How the hell did they do that? And then I'm looking and looking and looking, and I'm like, no, they flew a 747
through the mountains,
between those mountains, like above the pine trees. I was astonished. I was like, holy crap, that's some good work. I think they did. They must have done some kind of mask shot with the helicopter, which I wrote down. I thought the helicopter was bullshit, but I looked it up. It is actually called a Sikorsky HH-53B Super Jolly Green Giant.
Huh.
It's a real helicopter. I thought they just mounted little things on the side to make it look like it had jet engines. Evidently, it really does.
The only thing that threw me off from that, and I'm obviously clueless, even though I was in the Air Force, I didn't know they had helicopters.
You're in a different branch.
I was in the Air Force. I was like, where's the helicopters?
You're in a different branch of the Air Force.
I'm sure they had them, obviously. Here's the thing, and this brings me to one complaint.
Air Force has got helicopters?
Yeah, that I can get behind that, but here's...
That's so funny. We got airplanes?
Yeah, I knew we had airplanes.
The Navy's got boats?
But why is there helicopters? But, okay. One of the things that always gets me anytime, and this is not just this movie, this is any movie, any TV show, they do not hire great military consultants that at least know hair regulations. No, every time I see a soldier or an airman without their hair in regs, it's like, man, this was a simple thing. You could have fixed this. It pulls me out immediately. Yeah. Hats inside a building and long hair. Yes, the Air Force has longer hair, but not that fucking long.
Nope. They're a little bit easier on the hair regs, but you can always tell a guy in the military.
Yeah, you can always tell. Even the Air Force.
Even with the shit that's going on now, you can always tell a guy, a person in the military, their hair is a certain way, certain set, that's it. Sid Caesar cracked me up.
Oh, God, I just wanted to punch him. He was so annoying.
The funny thing is, when she offers him a drink, and because I think they're going down, and the lady hands him a drink, he's like, no, I don't drink. And she's like, What difference does it make?
He's like, ah,
And he's like,
none,
yeah,
none at
right.
all.
He takes his shot and starts drinking it. That was a good shot.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Gloria Swanson pulling all of her jewelry out of that box, out of her lock box. And
There's
she's like,
plenty of room to have it all.
yeah, she's writing a book, and she's, give me that book. I'm throwing the book in here. I don't want to have to rewrite it. And she makes some smart ass comment
I
on
love
it.
that. I didn't want this published while I was alive anyway.
Yeah, I don't want this thing published when I was alive anyway, darling. And throws the tape recorder in the lockbox, slams it down, and locks it.
Here's the one thing that got me. They're exiting the plane. She has that in her hand.
Yeah.
She is almost on the ramp, and her assistant grabs it. You can't take that, and throws it. It's like, bitch, she could have just come on down it.
No, it was the stewardess. Like,
Oh, it was the stewardess?
who
Okay, yeah.
cares?
Who cares? You made it. Let's talk about the exit of the plane. I started laughing because I swear to God, the first guy I saw get off the plane was the guy with the afro, and I said, "My God, Lionel Richie made a run for it." And,
Fuck you, women and children. I'm out of here.
and then they showed the ambulance show up, and Janine's like, "Oh my God, Ecto 1, the Ghostbusters are on the scene," because it just fell apart from there.
Right.
But Lionel Richie, Ghostbusters, that was my notes.
What was funny is I was watching that scene with them departing the plane at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Did you happen to look at the expressions on everyone's faces going down that ramp?
They were having fun.
That looked like the most happy fun that anybody had on the shoot of that entire movie. Because it didn't look like they were just happy, like they're supposed to be the character happy to get off the plane. These people must have been having to do this shot like several times. Because they were running, they were jumping up and bouncing on it and sliding down. And I was just like, God damn, that had to have been fun.
They were having a good time with that. They were like kids at a park. It's like, what the hell? Yeah, it was funny. It was funny.
Let's see, Gloria Swanson. Oh, when she just gives all her jewelry to her sidekick. Here, you can keep it, darling. I don't need it. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. And I'd like to find out, and I was trying to find out last night, and I didn't see anything written about the jumbo jet, the 747. They said in the movie, they actually said it was probably one of the safest planes. And from what I understand, with very few exceptions, it was supposed to be, I don't even know if they still make 747s, I don't know. But it is supposed to be one of the safest. But I want to know where they flew that thing at. What mountain range was that they were really flying through? Because that damn plane looked really close to those mountains, and it really did. There's like a section of mountains, for anybody that's just listening, it almost looked like a valley. And it looked like the plane was flying through the valley towards a city that was supposed to be Salt Lake.
They were going to Salt Lake. They got diverted to Salt Lake.
I was just thinking, I'm wondering if that supposed to be how you really fly into Salt Lake? Because I don't know.
There's a lot of mountains.
And why wouldn't you go above the mountains? Or not knowing a lot about weather, I'm wondering if the air currents push up and it would buffer the plane too much. So going in the valley is smoother. I don't know.
Well, the reason it was that low is they had already started their descent, so they were coming in probably through the mountains there, and then the pilot with no eyes. All I had was an Event Horizon moment right there, where we're going, we don't need eyes, and like, oh shit, this movie got dark, but it didn't go that way.
It should have. It would have made it better.
I'll take Sam Neill in anything. I'm just saying.
Yeah, right.
But yeah,
fly the plane and fight dinosaurs all at the same time. Oh, and I'm
going to take you to hell.
Yeah, we're all flying to hell with these dinosaurs. Wait, what?
That needs to be made.
It's a movie. Sam, call us.
All right, I can hear the pitch. Right now. You have a grizzled airline pilot who's found a way to open a portal to hell, but along the way he screws up and goes to the past, and dinosaurs get on board, and then they go to hell.
Isn't this a Twilight Zone episode?
Sure, it'll work. Hollywood.
It's gonna work. Don't trust us. Just trust
it's
us.
It's gonna work.
We need $20 billion to make this movie.
Billion. Because we have to be able to actually open a real portal and recreate dinosaurs.
We're going to need the machinery to actually do this. We're shooting for realism here, folks.
Yeah.
15 billion of that is already spent on me and Scott. Just writing the script.
On snacks.
On snacks.
Oh, fuck.
That story went off on a tangent.
Yeah, I don't know where that went and why, but yeah, it was Captain No Eyes there with. Uh, I got to say something about this. Okay, so the plane, they have a collision. The crew is rendered dead or severely injured, and
Punch,
Karen, huh, yeah,
punch, and
yeah,
chip.
Eric Estrada,
Eric
who's
Estrada.
actually a pimp for the other two guys because they're
Yeah, I
like, "Are we
know,
going to be
right?
lonely tonight?" Ah, here's my little black book.
He's hitting on the 17-year-old freaking stewardess. It's like, you
Yeah,
pig.
this is a movie from the 70s, and that's all I'm going to say about that topic. Uh, it shows big time.
Oh,
But
yeah, but really,
it,
what else are you going to do if you're a guy in that situation? You're going to try and keep the woman calm.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's what we do. We're
But
men. We try to keep the women calm.
but when the plane is going down, there's all this stuff going on. Karen Black, who plays the stewardess, I can't remember her name.
Susan? No,
No,
Nancy. It was
Nancy.
Nancy.
Nancy takes over the flying of the plane, the communication. They're
Yeah.
like, stay on the line, Nancy. She takes off her headset, gets up, and goes and walks around the fucking plane with imminent doom. And these motherfuckers are fucking around. It's like, will you get your ass in that seat and fly this fucking plane?
I was trying to figure out what the fuck she left the seat. Well, I got it on autopilot. There's a mountain range right here.
There's so much
She goes
fucking
down.
around
She goes
on
down to
this. It's like
serve the people.
when her boyfriend finally gets on the plane, he's fucking around. It's like,
He's like,
plan this
hey,
shit.
he's like, hey, give me a cup of coffee, bitch.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm Moses. I'm here to save you.
Yes. Let my people go.
Oh, sorry, folks.
It should be, we'll note it's Charlton Heston.
There's a lot of good in this movie, but there are some things that are just so standoutish. Like Scott said, Karen Black is supposed to be in the pilot seat. That there's a big hole about as big as my room here that I'm sitting in.
That should have sucked her right out of it.
But you know, the air pressure's calmed down by then. It's
Yeah.
okay. They're not as high. But she sits
Obviously.
in the chair, and they the guy says, "Just stay there. We'll go take care of you. Don't worry about it." She literally gets up, leaves the autopilot on, goes to check on the other stewardesses. I swear, I'm almost positive, I would bet money on it, that she went and checked on the passengers and made sure they had snacks.
I'm sure she did.
You don't want to know why? Because a fucking woman's work is never done. They will bust their ass. There's not one guy in the world that would even give a fuck about anybody else on that plane. He'd be flying that goddamn plane going, I am not moving from this fucking cockpit. I cannot do two things at once. Woman's like, fuck this, I got laundry to do, and I'll be right back. No, you gotta
I'll be back to land this plane.
Fuck you, people need their snacks.
Fucking shit, man.
Don't tell me how to do my job, mister, and I won't tell you how to tell me how to land this plane.
Oh. That shit's
We're
crazy.
getting notes for that one, but it's true. The guy would just be sitting there going, fuck, fuck, fuck. Aaron Black's like, fuck. Oh, it's time for everybody to get their coffee.
Yeah, I thought that was absolutely crazy, and but the movie did a good job of building tension. It had a lot of comedic moments, and they just kept building the stakes. Okay, we've got this going on, but we've got a kidney transplant patient, a young kid, and I immediately watched the trailer to Airplane after watching this, and of course they show the singing and knocking the pick line out of her. She's like, the kid's dying, and they're just all having a good time, and the slapping of the hysterical.
Well, that happens at the airport, or it happens in one of them because they show this scene where there's somebody screaming, the lady just slaps the shit out of her, and everybody's just like, "Whoa, lady, relax."
This is a cool movie. If you like the 70s, I like seeing this stuff. Because this is something I saw as a kid. And to go back to it. Yeah.
It's a 70s, perfect 70s disaster movie, man.
And there's a lot of them. We've got more coming.
yeah, we do. There is one good thing that Karen Black does. I love Karen Black. I love the way that she's flying this plane. She's in a movie that I want us to do for Halloween, and it's the Trilogy of Terror.
Absolutely.
I think it was made for TV, if I'm not mistaken. Scared the shit out of me as a little kid.
With the little
Doesn't
doll.
not scare me now with the little doll. So let's just creepy doll. There's an expression in Karen Black's face when she flies the plane, when she's going over the mountains, and the expression on her face is, I think I just shit my pants. Because that plane, she's pulling up, and she can't pull up too fast because it'll stall out the plane. You don't want to stall a jumbo jet out of a freaking mountain range. And she's just literally pulling up, and this other stewardess just walks in, and she's like, her eyes get really big, and she takes a step back, and they just show the mountain range, and they had to have only missed that fucker by like 10 feet.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
And you see the expression on Karen Black's face from, I'm going to shit my pants, I'm getting sick, I'm going to throw up, to, oh, thank God, I'm feeling so much better now.
She played it well.
Answer anything. That expression on her face was the best bit of acting, and it will only last for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
She's only got this look on her face for about 10 seconds, but it's like one of those deals where you're like, that's why they hired her. That's why Karen Black is flying that plane right now. It's
Absolutely.
a good scene. I just can't get over that. Some of the footage that they shot with that plane going. I'm going to say it again. If you watch this movie, and some people might watch this movie that know all the answers that I'm talking about.
Oh, I'm sure.
There's just a scene where they're flying through that mountain range, and I'm like, how? Was there anybody on that actual plane that they were flying, or was that just basically an empty plane that they flew?
That's a good question.
Through there, or what was going on there? I don't know. This is another one. Like you said, she got up and she walked around.
Yeah.
After Charlton Heston gets on the plane, it's very dangerous. He's got to drop a line, and he's got to squeeze himself through a hole that's in the side of the plane
without falling like the heroic rescue guy, famous rescuer.
Why did he have a parachute on?
It wasn't a parachute. It was just the harness release.
I know. What I'm
why
saying is, didn't he have a parachute?
I don't know. I would have thought if you're going to put a chute on, just in case.
Anyway, he didn't have a parachute on. He died. But not Charlton Heston. He makes it because he's the star. Well, he's one of the stars. He gets through the hole. He sits down. Karen Black, he says, hey, honey, because they're dating, and he's, trying to calm her down and get her mind off of him crashing the plane. Go back and tell the passengers everything's okay. Get them all locked up. I don't know whether the plane, I have no instruments. He's basically flying blind. Yeah. Got no instruments. He's tapping shit. Nothing's working. I don't know if the wheels are going to lock into place. Just go out there, tell everybody everything's fine. Get ready to land. She comes out around the corner, and she pulls out from behind her back a blowhorn to talk to everybody. And I'm like, where the fuck did she get a blowhorn from? Yeah. Is that standard issue? I don't know. If you're a stewardess out there, let me know. Is that standard issue on a plane? A blowhorn?
Passengers can get unruly.
Everybody, please sit down. The captain is Charlton Heston. Your life is okay. I thought for sure you were going to text me when that came on. And my last note was, "And Moses to the rescue."
Yeah. It was cool to see the in-air transfer of somebody to a plane. It's of course been done multiple times in movies since then.
Yeah, I think that might have been the first time, though.
That might have been the first time. It's really cool to see. It was funny because my wife said well, if it was Fast and Furious, they would have just jumped out of the plane and went in head first right through the window and been fine. But
landed right on the plane. Cut a hole through it, little bit of plastic explosive on the side, blown a hole through, shot a couple of guys coming through.
Yeah.
Hey, Vin Diesel, those are paying customers. What the fuck is wrong with you? We gotta refund them their money now, man.
Yeah, exactly. Don't shoot the customers.
Don't shoot the customers. It's bad PR. I like whenever the reporter shows up with that guy's wife who flew the Cessna into the side of the plane.
I know, it's like, what the fuck?
he's trying to blame the airport or the airplane company for the accident, which was not their fault at all. They were in the line where they're
Yeah.
supposed to be. This guy has a heart attack. He ran into the plane. George Kennedy grabs that guy. He's about ready
He
to throw
picks his
his
ass
ass down
up.
the stairs. Did you recognize who the guy was?
Okay, I'm going to say who he reminded me of. I did
Uh-huh.
not look up the name, but right when he showed up, I said, "What? Why the fuck is Herb Tarlick here?" Uh,
Close. The guy
okay,
from
who
F,
was it?
the guy from F Troop, and he was also. You never watched F Troop as a kid?
No, no.
Oh my God.
Okay,
How about the Ghostbusters, the original television series
I'm
when you
familiar with
were
it.
a little kid?
Yeah, I'm familiar with it, but I haven't seen it.
Now I'm gonna have to look up his name.
Okay,
He
but
he
so he's
was
from there. My
he,
first
that's, he
impression
was
was like,
from,
"God damn, that looks like Herb Tarlick."
and he always played that kind of character. Even
Okay.
even in F Troop,
Oh
he was kind
wow.
of a smarmy guy. I'm gonna go IMBD it because for the life of me, I cannot remember his name.
Right.
Go ahead
So
and keep talking for 2 seconds.
while you're looking that up, I don't have many notes on this other than it's a great '70s disaster film.
Yeah,
I do recommend watching it. It's got some really cool moments. It's a fun movie. It's better than I thought it was going to be.
yeah.
It's pretty damn cool, and I can't wait to see the others because I am now going to go watch the whole airport quadrilogy there.
Yeah, you can't beat a good 70s disaster movie. And speaking of 70s disaster movies, which one's next, sir?
The Towering Inferno.
Yes!
Yes. I have
Yes!
not seen this since the 70s.
Yeah, right?
And then, of course, be sure and stick with us for the Poseidon Adventure. Who's
Yes.
who played that asshole reporter, Dave?
Uh, Larry Storch played the character of
Okay, that name sounds very
And
familiar.
Larry Storch, I'm going to give you guys a real head up. This was one of my big, I loved Larry Storch when I was a kid growing up. He was in F Troop. They have him listed here as Airport 75 also, which is very cool. Something called Bittersweet, which I've never seen.
Hmm.
He was actually, wow, he was in Days of Our Life,
Okay.
the old series, the old
Yeah.
television soap opera. But he did voiceovers for Garfield, Beetle
Wow.
Bailey, the old Beetle Bailey cartoon, Foofer. I remember the cartoon Foofer. That's how old I am, folks. I remember a
I
cartoon
don't
called
even know what a
Foofer.
foofer is.
It was about dogs. Some kind of dogs were in there.
Okay.
Knight Rider. I don't remember him in Knight Rider. I do remember him in Fall Guy with the
Oh,
Bionic
really?
Man, but he was a
Yeah.
stuntman only,
With Lee
not
Majors. Okay.
Lee Majors. Yeah, he was in all sorts. He did a lot of
Wow.
voiceover.
Wow.
But I was looking to see if I could find him in the Ghostbusters, but it's not showing up on here. I wanted to get the years that he showed up in that, but it's
Right.
not showing me. I'm sorry.
But
Sorry,
that's
folks.
what's
I have
cool
to get
about this series of movies is the sheer amount of well-known actors they put in for
Mhm.
the time. It's like a showcase of the stars. So,
Right, right. It was like any big actor of the day
yep,
they
is
got
in
in.
those movies.
What I do want to know, and maybe you know this because you are into horror movies and the like, was this a before The Exorcist or after The Exorcist?
I don't know. This came out in 1974, and I will look it up, but I think The Exorcist was before this.
Because that would be very interesting. That'd be very telling for me that she was just like, yeah, I'm still acting. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
1973 was The Exorcist.
Oh, okay. So
So
this is
right
well,
before this.
it's about
Right
three
before
or four
this.
years.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that works. She wasn't afraid to take any kind of part.
No, no. I mean, and she was still really young there. So, and you know, I didn't follow Linda Blair much, but I know she still didn't stay afraid to take any kind of part. So she continued with
No, she was
exploitation
in
films and everything else.
she was in a comedy called Repossessed,
Yes.
and I only saw it once many years ago, but it was a take on the Exorcist movie, or
Hmm.
parts of it were, and it's just her trying to pull that part in a funny way, and
Yeah.
it just cracks me up to think that she looked at what her most iconic role and made fun of it. And I think that came out in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s.
I think you're right. I think you're
Yeah,
right.
and
I do remember bits and pieces of it.
Very funny. I remember it being very funny. I might look at it now and go, really? I thought that was funny. But I still think the Three Stooges are funny. So
they always will be, and anybody who says not, it's blasphemy. And
yes,
go away.
I agree. And you know, the Marx Brothers always.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, final thoughts on Airport 75, Dave.
Watch it. It's a good 70s disaster movie. There are absolutely hysterical moments in the show that aren't supposed to be hysterical. Like you said about Karen Black, stay in the pilot seat, and she gets up and leaves.
Yeah.
Just the male machismo.
It's
was
70s.
Just oozing out of the television screen. But at the one point, I was sitting there thinking, "Oh my God, this is so sexist." How they're talking to her. But then you look at it like they're not real. I don't think they meant it as sexist. I think they were just like, "I'm a man. I have to show that I'm in control, so she doesn't worry." And I think that's what they were trying to do, is show these guys as caring, but tough caring guys.
Well,
you know what I mean?
It's hard to look back and guess what might have been going through their head, because this was the norm, and that's just the way I look at it. This was how things were, and I'm not even going to get into right or wrong or anything. That's how it was.
You can't get into
That's how exactly. That's how people talked. That's how they treated each other, and it really reflects it. And it did cause me a few times, like, "Ooh, ow, damn!"
Even you know how
because I'm looking through it now. Yeah.
And I am not a super politically correct guy. But there were a couple of times where I was like,
"You're not?
You didn't think that shit?"
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
I can't believe she just listened. I didn't say that to her. But
wow.
If the guy is like, when the guy's trying to talk her down, like, "It's okay, Nancy, just relax, take a deep breath. Hey, get a Jack Daniels in you, calm down." And he'll like cover the microphone going, "Oh," and it's almost like he's like, "I don't know how to talk to a woman." You know, what am I supposed to do in this situation? He's like covering the microphone. What am I supposed to say to her? And then she loses radio contact, and you're like, they're screwed.
You know, when she lost radio contact, she was fucking around with shit. She should have left things alone, but no, she dropped something on there, and it's like, God damn it, will you set your ass down and quit fucking around?
That's why you're a stewardess and not a pilot.
Oh, my God. I screamed at poor Karen Black throughout this movie. Set your ass down.
Get back in the co-pilot seat. The pilot
oh, my God.
Where's Chewbacca when you need him?
Exactly. So yes, Old Ass Movie Reviews gives it a must watch. And make sure to hit like, subscribe, share us, get the word out. If you like us, if you hate us, send us something. I don't care, you know.
Tell 2 friends, and then they'll tell 2 friends, and so on and so on.
And then they'll buy, and I'll get the money, and then we
take over the world.
Then we take over the world. So join us next week, Towering Inferno. And until then, stay safe. Later.
Here.